Hey, I'm Angel, founder of AI Flow app, where we help founders turn operational chaos into clean, scalable systems using AI. AI Flow is my podcast where I talk to early stage leaders about the real behind the scenes, what's working, what's breaking, and how they're using tech to move faster with clarity. Let's get into it. Thank you for joining us on AI Flow today, Alan. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your company? Tell us a little bit about how you got into the payment services. It sounds like you came from the restaurant side, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
you had a culinary degree. It's a very interesting pivot. So just curious how you got into this.
yeah, it was an interesting pivot. Thank you for having me on the podcast today. Yes, I started Nationwide Payment Systems back in 2001, and I had exited the restaurant business after many years of being a chef, a food and beverage director, owned a restaurant, a catering company, did consulting in that area also, and I needed something to do. I was like in between jobs. So I ended up working for a payments company and still doing some part time consulting. And I enjoyed the payments business. And I had some experience because I had a merchant account and I had a credit card machine. And I always thought it was like a little bit of a shady business, and business owners were not getting being treated the right way. Everybody I talked to, like, nobody had anything good to say. And I said, well, there's got to be something good I can do and give good customer service and treat people fairly. And
Yeah.
I worked for some people for a couple years and learned the business, and then they wouldn't do certain things. So I said, you know what? I got to start my own company. And a guy that I knew handed me a magazine, and in that magazine there were articles and there were ads from companies, and I figured out I'm an entrepreneur. I started a restaurant business, a catering company, a consulting company.
Yeah.
I'm entrepreneurial, so I figured out how to start a payments company, and that's what I did 25 years ago. And it changes fast.
Yeah. How so?
So when I first got into the business, people, we just sold credit card machines. Like, they didn't look like this. They had lots of buttons on them
Okay.
in those days.
Yeah. I've
And
seen those. Yeah.
yeah, but they had lots of buttons on them. And then
Yeah.
people started asking for different things. Oh, we need to authorize .NET Gateway for this e-commerce site. Oh, we need this thing programmed for our restaurant. And the people I worked for, they didn't want to do any of that. They were not interested. And that's why I said I'm just going to start my own company. I'm going to get more involved in the business and more involved in the technology side, because I saw there was like a big need for that. Nobody was really serving these clients. I
Yeah.
don't know who was serving them, but it wasn't the guys I worked for. So, and I just dove in and just went at, started the company January 2001. Here we are, 2020. What year are we in? 2025. We're
25.
25, in our 25th year in business. We've expanded the company into selling a lot more products, different types of software, hardware, different types of point of sale systems, SaaS software, all kinds of smart. This is our NPS 1 is our smart invoicing platform. So we've gotten into a lot of different things over the years. And I remember one guy went to a meeting about uh, checks one time, where you could take a check. No one does this anymore. Put it through a machine, and then the merchant would get the cash in their bank account, right? That was really cool at the time, early 2001. That was a thing still, writing a check. You're probably laughing. What? Half the people listening are like, what's a check? I never even filled one out before.
I've done a
And
couple.
right, but it's not like
Yeah.
today. Like, I hardly ever
Sure.
write a check. I mean,
Yeah.
I write maybe less than 10 checks a year. So,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
the whole thing, usually it's to the government. But
True.
but it's interesting, so people wanted that product. And I remember I went to this meeting, and this guy gave me a book, and I still say that's one of the most important business books that I've ever read, Who Moved the Cheese. I don't know if you ever read this book, but
I
it's
have not.
It's a really short book. You can read it in one night,
Oh
and it's
wow.
just a concept of, there's two mice and they're put into this maze, and every day they go where the cheese is. So it's a sales story. So they know where the cheese is. Same thing. The sales guys know how to sell the cheese. Well, one day the person moves the cheese. Who moved the cheese? Right? The cheese changed. How you make money is changing. So it changes all the time. Used to be 2001. Okay, we had to think about it on a yearly basis.
Mm-hmm.
Soon it was, okay, we got to think about this twice a year. We got to think about this once a quarter.
Yeah.
Now we think about it a lot more because with AI and technology, everything is just moving at a very, very rapid pace. So you got to really keep up with technology and make sure that, and we've become a company over the years that sells a product first, product being technology, and then we deal with the credit card processing because the technology is important that the merchant business owners using the right technology.
Okay. You've talked a lot about like how the industry's changed a lot, and especially with AI, it's changing pretty fast. So how does like what specifically are you seeing in the industry that's changing, and how are you guys adapting to it?
So one of the things that's changing is software and how software is becoming a big driver on business owners making decisions. Business owners want software that's specific to their business. So they're not just going to buy a restaurant software. They might say, oh, well, I have a quick service restaurant. I need something that's designed for quick service. What do those companies need? They need a point of sale system, online ordering, possibly a kiosk, menu boards that go up, so people can see the menu, and all integrated into the point of sale. And a kiosk, so like in slow times, they don't have to staff a cashier. So you have to know, like, okay, what fits into that realm, or what point of sale system, is going to meet the needs of those customers. Or they own a hair salon. What does a hair salon need? Online reservations, tip tracking, inventory tracking. Maybe they even need to tip someone comes in, you go in to get your hair cut and you're getting your nails done and your toes, and then the person washing your hair, and then when you leave, you need to be able to leave like four separate tips, right? So
Yeah.
you have right, so everybody gets tipped. The hair washing person gets tipped. This person that, like, I go to the salon sometimes and I get I've got a haircut, and then maybe somebody different trims my beard. Or you go to the nail salon and one person does your feet and one person does your nails. Men
Yeah.
get many mani pedis too.
True. True. They do.
Um, I go once in a while with my
Yeah.
significant other, so we do the mani pedi lunch, have a day at a spa day. So it's
Nice.
industry specific things. If you're a
Yeah.
landlord and you rent home, let's say you have 20 houses you rent out, you need specific software to help you run that business. And that's what we do. Today we met with somebody that had a platform they were launching for nonprofits to use and to take political donations. So we talked to them about that and how it needs to work, and different things like that. So everybody, you can't just have just this general thing.
Mhm.
People want to have something, they want to know you can do something specific for their business type. And that's changing and becoming a bigger and bigger and bigger as
Okay. So do you? So it sounds like you guys customize to each client. Is that right? Or is it more like you have client types, like a hair salon, a nail salon, like a landlord, and you've customized to that industry?
So we can customize to each customer, but we also look to partner with those different types of solutions. So we have a solution. So when someone comes to us, say, "Oh, I'm a nonprofit," and then we go through all the questions we need to ask them. And then we can go, "Okay, well, here's the solution you can use," and then we show them the solution. Someone could come, so we partner with different. We call them
Mhm.
ISVs, independent software vendors, right? So that we can sell their products and then put our processing inside those products. So the product has become more important than the processing.
Okay, I see. So it sounds pretty like customized, and you do work with a lot of people who have like they're like relatively high risk, right?
Well,
Compared
it
to what a
depends.
traditional bank would take.
Yeah, we deal with people low risk and high risk. And high risk people, I don't like to refer to them as high risk. I like to call
Okay.
them niche because
Okay.
when you're dealing with a specific niche, like let's say you have a nightclub and there's bottle
Mhm.
service, right? And there's could be people in there potentially dropping 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand. Not every bank has a taste for that, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing, you're selling CBD. What we know what banks have the capacity to deal with those merchants. Like they understand the vertical. Not everybody wants to take tobacco, like cigar
Yeah.
stores online or people selling vape products or B2B high ticket, where someone's a wholesaler. Like we have a lot of wholesalers. We have a few companies that sell dental equipment, but then at the ones that are selling like the little tools and all that, they're selling like the thing you spit in and the x-ray machine and the chair. So
Yeah.
the bill can be 5 grand up to 100,000 or more dollars, and then somebody wants to put that on a credit card. So you have to know like which banks that we work with have the capacity to deal with those type of clients. So we know like from that, like, oh, you have a strip club or you have an adult website or you're selling some adult products on your website.
Yeah.
Who wants that? And, generally, people don't understand why that is, but it's the same as like you go get a car loan, right?
Yeah.
The bank comes to you and they sent your information to 10 banks and every bank looks at you differently and you're going to go with who gives you the best interest rate, right? Some
Yeah.
banks don't want to deal with people who are self-employed sometimes, right? They're like, oh, self-employed. No, we don't deal with that, right? So you have to make sure that the same thing, we put our clients with a bank that understands their business. So that's the most important thing. Not that they're necessarily high risk. What's high risk to one bank is okay with another bank.
Yeah.
And most of the time, the difference between that is, and this is something people watching the podcast should understand. So, you go to Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase. Okay, those banks are public, they're publicly traded, they have a board of directors, okay, and they're going to have, as one of my friends taught me in the beginning of me being in this business, they don't want their business on the front page of the newspaper, haha, on
Yeah.
today with
True.
Google. The front
Not all
page.
PR is good PR.
Right. Front
Yeah.
page test, they used to call it. Oh, we don't want to end up on the front page with XYZ business. So they're a lot more sensitive to
Mhm.
what they would allow somebody to sell, right?
Yeah.
Versus you have privately held banks that's owned by a family, right? Or it's all privately held, not publicly traded. They have a better risk um, a better risk portfolio where they're
Mhm.
going to take more chances than Bank of America or Wells Fargo. Follow? Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we partner with a lot of privately held banks because they don't care that somebody owns a gun shop or a shooting range. Maybe a publicly held bank is not going to be doesn't want to deal with that.
Yeah. That makes sense. I
So
used to work for a bank, so I get it.
yeah, so that's kind of
Yeah.
what we do is, make sure that your particular niche can be serviced by the right bank.
Okay. And since it sounds like you're very you're servicing very like giving like very I'm losing my words, but giving very specialized attention to your clients, is there anything that you're finding internally that you find could be more efficient but maybe isn't right now? Like any operational, financial workflows?
Well,
Anything
from a
that's
work,
manual that you're like, oh, maybe I want this to be like just done better.
yeah, from a workflow standpoint, we have ways to automate how people we can basically send somebody a link, go here, sign up. We can make it as easy as Stripe and Square do, you know.
Hmm.
We're not as well known as them and
Yeah.
people don't understand sometimes. So I'll give a brief explanation. Those
Hmm.
companies onboard you and they just go, "Okay, Alan has a pulse. He's got a business name, a federal tax ID number, the bank account, and they don't even look to see what you're selling. Okay, they do not look to see what you are selling.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we're diving in. We want to know everything about your business so
Hmm.
that later when you're transacting, there's no problems. Now, Stripe and Square and other payment aggregators, they look later when you're transacting business and then they go, uh-oh, Angel, what is she doing at her business? What
Yeah.
is Alan doing at his business? Let's go look at the website. Whoa, whoa, we don't want to process for CBD. And people don't read the term. I did a post on Reddit that has like 5,000 hits on it already, and people reading it every day. I keep seeing more and more people reading this post because it's about that people don't read the terms of service of these companies, and then they find themselves in a pickle.
Yeah.
And sometimes the younger people just figure, okay, it's easy and fast to go over there, and I don't have to give all this information out. But you're going to have to give out that information at some point, and then it's going to not only are you going to have to give the information out at some point, you're going to have to give it to them fast, and your money's going to be held up. And that's a bigger problem than giving us the information in the beginning of time, right? Then
Yeah.
your money's not going to be held because you're doing things the right way from the beginning, and everybody, you don't want to get your money held. Nobody wants to deal with that. And then,
Yeah.
you talk about, I know this, you talk about AI on your podcast, so I'll tell you some of the stuff that we've been doing with AI.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be
And,
great.
and AI is really cool. So we use AI to help us with our blog. So we'll have a blog post, and then we'll use AI, and we use this tool. It's really cool. I wish this guy would come on my podcast already. Has a company called Search Atlas. And we use Search Atlas, and then Search Atlas tells us, okay, from this blog post, okay, we need to improve this, that, and blah, blah, blah. And it makes sure to do all the SEO, tells us what the SEO words should be, the meta tags, and it will even give us a LLM score, which is the large language models. People don't know that. And we
Yeah.
also installed on our website an LLM crawler, which you can get free from WordPress, that allows, all the Chat GBT, Perplexity, Claude, Gronk, blah, 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 lets them scan our website. It actually lets them know we want them to scan our site for
Okay.
information. So we use AI for a lot of that information and help us improve on our SEO and everything. And then we've also worked with, like, we have one of the companies we work with that has a restaurant point of sale system. They put an AI into the system. So employees and managers have an app on their phone, and there's, a desktop where in the back end. So if they forget how to do something, oh, how do I do this? They can type it in without calling the help desk and get an answer. Employee could type it in without going to bug a manager. And they could, or manager says, oh, I forgot how to change a price. I need to go in and change a price. How do I change the price? And then we'll answer the question and give them step-by-step instructions how to do it. So those kind of things help us save time with
Yeah.
our customers, because now they can get answers fast. They don't have to wait on the phone. They can just go to the AI and get the answer. So those kind of things are super, super helpful. And, we even use AI in our boarding process. So in the boarding process, the AI will tell us, it can scan through somebody's application or even a pre-application and let us know what their IP address is, if it's been masked, if the phone number they gave us is a cell phone, a landline, or one of those text to voice or Google phone. So, and we require somebody has a real phone, either a landline or a cell phone. We do not take those other phones for business because that person could disappear. So
Fair.
we check everything from that standpoint to try to cut down on fraudsters. We even take people's driver's license and voided checks and document sometime and even load it up into AI and ask AI if these are real or they see any anomalies on the documents. You would be surprised. People try to, they can make some really good forgeries these days.
Wow. But AI can tell the difference.
Most of the time, I would say AI can pick it up about 99% of the time. Some people, I've seen some really good forgeries, though, of especially driver's licenses.
Yeah.
Bank statements are really hard to forge, and checks are kind of hard to forge because usually the person can't get the right colors for the logos and stuff. Because
Yeah.
one thing I learned about banks is this: banks, credit card machines, and ATM machines all do the same thing. They all have their own unique font. It might look like Roman numerals point, Roman
Yeah.
numeral font, but then instead of it being like point 12 or point 12.5, no, it's like 11.876, right? And you can't duplicate that.
Yeah.
And and so I learned that from underwriters. They tell me look very closely at the fonts on these bank statements and fonts on things that people send you and see if there's inconsistency in the font.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah,
Good
that's
to
what they
do.
look. That's what literally that's what they look for. They'll like blow it up on their computer screen, the Adobe, and they'll blow it up, and then they'll see there's an anomaly there.
Wow.
It's
That's very interesting.
pretty crazy, but fraud right now is run rampant. I
It
mean, I
is.
laugh every time I log into like my Experian or Credit Karma, and I tell everybody, whatever your bank gives you for free, your credit card gives you for free, Credit Karma is free. Make sure you have that. Make sure you get an alert. You go look at it. I mean, when it says, "Oh, your info's on the dark web," I just laugh. Okay, what? It's all on the dark web at this point. But what
Yeah.
you don't want on the dark web is like your driver's license number, your social security number. Then someone can cause a lot of havoc. And then you need to just lock your credit reports up. And if someone needs to get the credit report, you open it up for them and then you close it back down. But, you got to do what you got to do. And if your identity is stolen, report it to the police. A lot of people don't do that. They just figure, whatever, I took care of the problem and I'm not going to do a police report. You need to do a police report because if that
Mm.
person does something in the future or whatever, let's say they get a car loan, a mortgage, try to open up a merchant account and they're successful, and you didn't file a police report, not that you're liable, but you're going to go through some big BS to get that straightened out. If you had a police report, you go, hey, I did a police report. This is,
Yeah.
so I reported,
Process.
I
Yeah.
reported it. So, now you don't have to do as much to like get out of the whole, to prove it wasn't you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but AI, I think AI is going to do a lot. I mean, we don't even know
Mm.
what. I mean, I hear from people like that do coding, and they'll tell me, "Yeah, we use AI to check all our coding, or we use
Well,
AI to do some of the." But
yeah.
so we haven't seen. But AI is. It's important that when you're using AI, that it's interacting with humans because it's not always accurate.
No, it isn't. That's for sure. But sounds like you're using AI in a lot of different places. Is there anywhere else in your business where you feel like maybe things are still kind of manual that you're looking to implement AI or implement like a more efficient workflow?
I think if you take too much human element out of it,
Yeah.
it takes away the customer service of
Okay.
of of dealing with people. And I like to deal with people, but sure, we want things to be as automated as possible,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you want to still have that human element, you know,
Yeah.
that human element of someone being able to pick up the phone. Like that's how I tell people. I say, hey, we can give you everything Stripe can do. There's going to be a little bit of underwriting in the
Yeah.
beginning, and then from the tech side, we can give you everything that they can do. So, and if you have a problem, you can call us on the phone. There's no phone number to Stripe or Square or PayPal. You can't call them. When people tell me they called their customer service and spoke to them, I go, no. I have a button I take out. This button, the bullshit button. Because no, there's no phone number to that.
Yeah.
you you can tell me that, but no, I don't believe that. Maybe if you're doing $50 million a month, they're talking to you, but other than that, I don't think they pick up the phone.
That's fair. That's fair. So it's safe to say that you're happy with how like everything is running internally then, like on your end,
Yeah, I
like
mean,
everything's efficient. You're happy, smooth gears,
yeah,
whatever the term
everything
is.
is as smooth as. I mean, listen, there's one of the things that I always talk about in life, not just
Yeah.
for business, is you know we used to have newspapers, right? And
Yeah.
newspapers, you got the newspaper, and that's how you got your news. And you got your news when you watched the 6 o'clock news or the 11 o'clock news or
Yeah.
whatever time you watch news. Now I think like new, there's like a lack of transparency when it comes to news.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're watching the news, you're getting more opinion than you are news.
True.
There's a real lack of reporting the actual news. And I think that's a big problem. And there's also like AI, people can just spoof something in like 2 seconds. I was watching a video this morning on OpenAI Sora 2. Have you seen that?
Sora. Yeah. I've seen so many of those videos.
Okay, that's really
Yeah.
messed up. You can go on there, and if somebody did that facial test, which I did it myself this morning, someone showed me, I watched a webinar on how to use this thing. Now I just put I can use it. I'm not letting anybody else use my face, okay? But you can make a video with Sam Altman, the owner of OpenAI, and put
Mhm.
him in a video with you saying your company's the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Pretty
somebody
crazy.
said they tried to make a video with Shaq, but he declined because some of the influencers have to approve it. But
Okay.
just think about it, you could crank out like if you figured out how to use it, you could crank out like 20 videos
Yeah.
of all kinds of people saying great stuff about your business and throw it all over the internet. And some of them might go viral. And some influencers are allowing their picture to be used. You might not even know
Crazy.
who I wouldn't want to know who the person is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to have like a criminal in there. So,
Yeah.
right?
They could like
But
make up evidence.
right, no, but I'm just saying, like now, can you trust any of the videos that you see, even with CGI and all that? Someone could be showing a flood, and you're like, okay, well, where did that flood take place? And they say it took place XYZ. Oh, in Hollywood, Florida. Well, how do you know that's real? I mean, I'm starting to question a lot of things, that I'm
Yeah.
looking at on, Facebook Reels and Instagram and
Yeah.
TikTok. Like, is that real? Is that real? Like, Sam Altman say that? Did Shaq say that? I
Yeah.
don't know. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know. Yeah.
And
I do the same thing.
supposedly the Sora, if you use the Sora thing, it's supposed to like put some little watermark somewhere.
Yeah, it has like a little Sora mark on the right side.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's maybe some hacker, whatever. The kids, they'll figure out how to remove it or something,
Yeah.
or make the video smaller,
Yeah.
or clip the side and cut it out. I don't know. I'm just saying, like it's AI is, you see the good in it, and then you just see like the deception, right?
Yeah. There's always good and bad to innovation, right?
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
I've seen videos and whatever. I question like, is that the president in the video or a senator? Like, is that them? Or is
Yeah.
this some kind of like AI trick that somebody's pulling on us?
Yeah, I feel like you have to look really carefully when you see videos and pictures on the internet now. It's like, is it real or not? You never know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. It's crazy, even something like a product video. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. There's, all this, there's tons of like AI, there's a new AI tool every day. I follow some websites and they'll send out a list of like 20 new AI tools they found. It's like every day, 20 more tools, 20 more tools, 20 more. I don't know.
Yeah. Lots of new people entering, I guess.
Yeah, there's
Makes
new
sense.
people
Yeah.
entering the space, and they can send out a million emails in one day, and whatever other crazy stuff they claim they can do with it.
It's kind of like the dot-com boom, right? But
Yeah, this is a little more
now.
dangerous than the dot
A
com.
little bit, yeah.
I mean, that's how Mark Cuban made his first millions, was selling dot coms.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I'd
Makes
actually
sense.
met a guy one time who sold. He owned a whole before they made cyber squatting laws. He like signed up like 50 of the biggest companies in the U.S. their dot coms, and when they wanted them back, they had to pay.
That's
And
pretty smart.
yeah, he bought it. Yeah, he bought it when he was a teenager. His parents thought he was crazy.
Well, he's rich now, so
Yeah, and he made deals like to get stuff like free car every year. Like he made some crazy deals with some of the companies.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, like, coming back to what you guys do, like, I'm sure you're always innovating and changing every every year, every few months. Like, looking to the next 6 to 12 months, are there any innovations or changes that you're looking to implement, or things that you might want to do? Maybe like a wish list item, or I don't know. Any thoughts?
Thoughts?
Any
Well,
visions?
any visions? I envision that people are gonna really start to. We're gonna see people, especially like we're gonna start to see a lot more people start to figure out that there are software solutions that are specific to their business.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when we talk to customers and we go, okay, you want this one tech, like we met with somebody and they had this like really, and it wasn't really a long list. He's like, oh, I need software that does this. And then he was
Yeah.
upset that there's no free software that does that. Right.
Uh,
So
yeah.
it's like, okay, you want six different price categories for every item that you have in
Yeah.
your business, and you have 30,000 items. Okay. I
Okay.
go, basic software that's off the shelf is just not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people need to just realize that from the standpoint of software that you want to do difficult tasks, that you're not going to get that from an out of the box solution like for a restaurant. You're not going to get that from Toast. They're not going to do custom programming. Maybe if
Yeah.
you owned 100 restaurants they would, but if you came to us, we have restaurant software where we can go to the developer and say, oh, Angel's restaurant would like this, is that something you can do? And if it's something that they could do, they're going to do it. Or somebody came to us and said, oh, we needed those six pricing categories. Yeah, we can program that into your system. And then you don't have to manually price out 50 invoices every day. Or a
Yeah.
customer doesn't have to sit there while you're doing an invoice and you're manually figuring out their discount for them on each item going down and taking you 30, 40 minutes. The system is just going to do it. And people just don't understand, like you're not going to get some of the things you want out of a generic solution.
Yeah.
And I think people just need to start realizing, because people gravitate to these easy generic solutions, and then
Mm-hmm.
they have this very specific thing they want to do,
Yeah.
and you have to understand like you need to get programming in order to do that.
Yeah.
So I think, people are going to start waking up to that fact, because we see people, they go to these solutions and they go, oh, this solution doesn't do this, and I wasted all this money. and now I need to go get this other thing, and why isn't it free like this other thing? You know?
No, I get it. So I actually started AI Flow app. So it's AI Flow is the podcast for that I run, but I also started the company myself called AI Flow app. And like we basically do that, like custom solutioning for people. And I do find a lot of people saying like, oh, like I want this and this and this, and it's like very specific, and we'll help them with it. But some of them find it like, oh, well, I could try to go generic, but it's not going to work, you know? Like,
Right.
I'm exactly seeing what you're seeing. So I totally get it.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
AI, I think, like AI, like chatbots, we start to see like a lot of the AI
Yeah.
chatbots. That's like the beginning of AI, right?
Hmm.
And first, a few companies had it. Now there's tons of companies doing AI chatbots.
Yeah.
And I think that, AI is going to help people save time, save money. And
Hmm.
like if you're a young person, this is good advice. I'm going to give some good advice to young people. Young
Okay.
people out there listening to the podcast, and Angel is an AI expert. And I know if you are looking to get into a profession today, it doesn't, I don't care what kind of job it is, any job, right? Unless you're going to go in and you want to be a plumber, an air conditioner guy, you want to be a handyman, you want to do construction. Those are great jobs. You don't need college for that. You can go get a job in the trades and make $100,000, $200,000 a year. You can start your own business, do all kinds of stuff over there. If you're going to do something technical today, you need to get into the AI because jobs, I know some people they lost their job, and I asked them, said, "Well, were you using AI in your job?" And they go, "No." And I go, "This is the thing. AI is not going to take away jobs, but people who know how to use AI are going to get hired faster than people who don't know how to use AI. You need to learn how to write prompts, AI
Yeah.
prompts, right? I've gotten really good at AI prompts. Like if you want to crank out a document, I have like a specific prompt that I wrote for a specific thing that I want done
Yeah.
with AI, and because I have a paid account on OpenAI, it knows my prompt. So I call it. It has a name, and I say, "Oh, use this prompt, the Allen blog prompt, and do this," and then it does it for me. Right? I don't have to do it manually. It does
Yeah.
something that would take me 5 hours to do in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And you can ask so humans who know how to use AI are going to replace humans who don't know how to use AI.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
AI
I think for,
can be
yep.
used whatever job you're doing. I don't even care if you're a plumber, right? You need to know
Yeah.
how to use AI. AI can let's put it this. I did a video. It's on my LinkedIn page somewhere, but
Yeah.
I said I'm going to do this agentic commerce video. So I went on Google. I said, I need to buy noise canceling headphones that are very quiet on the airplane. Who has the best price? I don't want to buy Apple AirPods because they're very expensive. So I typed it in. What did Google give me? A list of websites to look at. I put
Mhm.
the same thing in ChatGPT. I got pictures, prices, where to go buy it, everything. Right now, there's no sponsored ads in ChatGPT, as far as I know.
As far as we know.
Huh?
As
As
far as we know. Yeah.
far as we know, there's no
Yeah.
sponsored ads in there. Nothing says sponsored because I looked. And it gives you a better result. And I've talked to people who do, if you're a e-commerce brand and you have an e-commerce website, you need to make sure that your site is searchable by the large language model so that your people are going to go over there to do their shopping. That's where they're
Yeah.
going to go shop. They're not going to shop on Google anymore. They're going to be shopping inside these Perplexity,
Yeah.
inside Claude, Gemini,
Mhm.
Copilot, whatever they're using. That's one huge consumer habit I see changing, and it's changed already, and it's going to keep going that way. What do you think about that?
No, I definitely agree because I personally do that too. Like I'll shop. I'll shop on like OpenAI and not Google. Although Google does have Gemini in like installed in it, but it's not exactly the same. So
Right.
no, I definitely agree with you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, appreciate you joining me here on AI Flow. Do you want to plug your podcast real quick
Sure.
to
Thank you
to
for
the
having
viewers?
Angel. Thank you for having me on AI Flow today.
Yeah.
Again, Allen Kopelman. You can find me at nationwidepaymentsystems.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. I also have a podcast called B2B Vault. Maybe I'll have Angel on as a guest and talk about AI, as I love talking about AI in business.
Yeah, I'd love to be on.
Okay, great. Let's make it happen. And we can and yeah, just check out B2B Vault, the Biz to Biz podcast. I interview found businesses, and then we try to interview a lot of companies that have technology and talk about their technology. And I've had a lot of interesting AI technology companies come onto my podcast because I find it super interesting. I just had someone come on and talk about bookkeeping and why it's important to keep your books, lawyers, AI companies, technology companies, all kinds of different things. And it's, educational information for business owners. So it's, and I enjoy doing it. And I enjoyed being on your podcast today. And I
Yeah,
look
thank you
forward
for
to
joining me.
having you on my podcast soon.
Well, thank you for joining me. I look forward to being on your podcast as well, Alan.
All
All
right.
right. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you. Peace out.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.